All right, so now we're going to talk about something really important about functions, which is their domain and their range. So on page 7 of your notebook, go ahead and write domain and range. And you can pause the video here and then start up again when you're finished. So the domain and range of a function are kind of related to what we did last week with the number systems. So when we are talking about domain, so the domain of a function is the set of all possible inputs for a function. So it's all the possible inputs that you can put into your function. So for example, okay, I know that with my recipe, I can put any number of cups of brown sugar, right? So I can put any number of cups of brown sugar. I can do a really, really small recipe and do like half a cup or a third of a cup. Or I can do a really, really big recipe and do like 100 cups, 200, 1,000 cups if I'm making this recipe for lots of people. One thing I cannot input, so input is any number of cups of brown sugar, okay, of brown sugar, as something that is not possible, so an input that is not possible is a negative number, right? It's impossible to have a negative cup of something. It can't happen, okay? So my domain, or the set of all possible inputs, are all positive numbers. So my domain are all positive numbers, including 0, right? You can have 0 cups of sugar. Maybe I'm on a diet, I don't want any sugar in my recipe, so that's 0 cups of sugar, right? So remember from our number system challenge last week, there is one number system that is all the positive numbers, including 0. So I want you to pause here, either look back at your notes or think back, which number set, or which set of numbers are all the positive numbers, including 0. So hopefully either you look back at your notes or you remembered, but these are actually your whole numbers. Remember, so that's 0, 1, oh sorry, not whole numbers. Not just your whole numbers, okay? You have your 0, 1, 2, 3, but also you are able to have your integers because those also have positive numbers. And you also have your rational numbers because you can have fractions. So, 1/2, 1/3, etc. Okay? The only thing that you got to specify is that it's all your positive, right? Ultimately, it's all positive real numbers. Okay? So, essentially, your domain is all positive real numbers and 0. Okay? So, one way of writing this, another way of saying this, is to make a bracket. We start at 0, comma, to infinity. Let me find the infinity symbol. There we go. Okay? We're essentially saying, look, I can have 0, sorry, this should be a square bracket, up to as many cups of brown sugar I can have in this recipe. So I want to make a couple notes. Close bracket, so this is a square bracket, okay? Square bracket means that number is included in your domain. So this means 0 is included in my domain. I can have 0 cups of sugar. An open bracket, or a curve bracket, this is called an open bracket, parentheses, means that that number is not included in your domain. So it is impossible to have infinite cups of brown sugar. So we can't have infinity in our domain. So we have 0. Everything between 0 and infinity is possible for this function. Okay? We can't have anything before 0. There's no such thing as negative cups. So that's our domain, all possible inputs of our function. Range, on the other hand, are all the possible outputs. So depending on what your inputs are and what your dependent variable is, you'll have to take a look at what your range is. So here in our range, our outputs for our recipe, we're looking at teaspoons of salt. Once again, the possible outputs, okay, so here's an example. Our example was our output was salt. We can obviously have anything that is not a negative number. Again, we can have anything that is non-negative, right? We can have 0, 1.5, 3.63, right? Cups of, or teaspoons of salt. So, our range, all positive real numbers and 0. So our range can be written the same way as our domain, from 0 to infinity. Again, 0 is included, so there's a square bracket. Infinity is not included, so it's an open parentheses. So if you are confused about this or need any help, you can come ask me in workshop. But I would like for you to go ahead and find the domain and range of your ingredients function from on page 7, okay? So go ahead, write out your domain and range, and then take a photo and upload it on Dreamseed Do.